power of artificial intelligence. This summer, I've created an artificial intelligence program to create rap lyrics based on random generated words. Here's an example of a verse it created. Yeah, I think I can fly. I'm going so high, you don't want to. I got sick with the flu. I gave the waiter no tip, and I got drip. So, every day we use a type of artificial intelligence program at least a few times a day. If you have a phone, or Google Home, or an Alexa, these all use a form of language recognition. If you have Spotify, Pandora, or Netflix, they all create an algorithm to put out stuff that you might like music and movies. There's so many ways to use this newfound technology, but most people don't even have the slightest clue on how it works. Artificial intelligence and computers in general is a new branch of computer science that's been around since the 1960s. Recently, there's been so much hype about it because in the last couple decades, for the first time in the 50 years it's been around, we finally have substantial projects. Many people use AI without even knowing, and about at the same time, more than 90% of Americans cannot write a paragraph on how it works. AI is a concept based on machine learning, which allows a machine to learn and understand things so that every time you repeat the program, it'll get slightly more accurate and testing will be better. This concept uses a concept called neural networks or neural nets. The concept of these nets is inspired by neurons in your brain when one neuron in your brain is connected to another through synapses. For example, if you want to find an answer to a question that you have in your brain, the question is formed in a neuron information that's found from other neurons. To connect all these pieces of the question, the data is transferred through synapses that come up with your answer. This is sort of how a neural network works. Inputs are fed through one neuron. Numerical transfers through many layers of neurons is done to get the output. This is done thousands to 10,000 to even millions of times until it finally has a high accuracy or a good answer. The same numerical data is then used for a test case to solve an actual problem. Of course, this is just a very brief description of this type of technology, and it is actually a lot more advanced than this. Although it is a difficult thing to learn and a hard skill to master, it's not quite as hard as people think. A lot of people today think that if you want to get involved in AI, you need some sort of degrees and 10 years of some working experience. This is actually far from true, and if you don't believe me, I've already gotten started in the hype myself. It started about 2 years ago when I was starting to learn Python. Python is a programming language great for beginners. Soon after that, I created my first program. It was an amazing experience to be able to take an idea, something that I actually needed to achieve, and turn it into reality. It was a calculator app for algebraic operations. At the time, this was a super cool experience. Now it is something I can probably do in about 5 minutes. The great thing about this was that it was practical, something I can actually use every single day. I was inspired by this. I began to do other more programming. I got down to basics like Python, HTML, JavaScript, CSS, and more. I made dozens of video games, applications, bots, and more. In fact, I even began teaching others. Then I began to turn my eyes on a new path, artificial intelligence. It was originally very difficult to learn anything about it. I did a lot of research and soon I was able to create a simple linear regression formula that can predict X and Y values. I did a lot of research, looked at a lot of online courses, library books, and other people's code. I then created a project which finds answers to questions on Wikipedia. That is what you see behind me right here. It takes in a question and comes out with an output. So I made about 15 neural network projects from this one, from random things like finding efficient study methods for certain projects and tests, to creating basketball game results, and even more. I'm not telling you this to brag, but to prove that if you want to get involved in AI, anybody can do it, and that it's not something that's possible to achieve. These are just a few of the practical things that I have created that I can use. As the world and people get smarter, so does the technology. Technology drives our world, so smart technology is beneficial to the increasingly smart population. While people are worried about the danger of AI growing smarter than us, I've ignored that worry and started building things that it won't take over. Developers are aware of these, so they make sure they have a limit to the amount of intelligence an AI program can accumulate. Right now, it is nowhere between that limit, and it's far from ours. We should now embrace this technology and try to use it and love it. That is how I did it, so why don't you? I would like to wrap up the speech by telling you what I think AI will be able to do in the future and what I like to do with it. And I think in the next decade or two, our lives will be completely turned around and changed for the better. Life will be a lot more efficient, easier, and overall a lot more pleasant experience. People will have tons of more time. Diseases will finally be a thing of the past, and people will not have to worry about minimal tasks. The reason I wanted to get into AI and get into this hype to help people. This is my way of contributing to society. In the future, I would like to create more projects and gain a better and stronger understanding of this amazing technology. Thank you.